So there's really no substitute for, knowing your protein, carb, fat intake and tracking that over time. And, let's say you want to gain a quarter, half pound a week or whatever it is, looking at how much you're taking in. And then if you're not gaining that amount, you can add, nutrients in based on that. I don't believe in, letting your body tell you what you need, because your body will lie to you. I mean, during contest prep, anybody who's prepped for a contest can tell you that one day you'll look fantastic and you'll feel like you're ready to step on stage, and you'll say, oh man, I better back off, I'm getting too lean too fast. And then the next day, you'll maybe, for whatever reason, you don't look as good, and you'll say, oh my God, I'm not going to be ready in time. And so, like, if you were just letting your emotions and how you feel run your prep, you'd be going like this all the time with your calories. I mean, you'd be dropping them and raising them, dropping them and raising them, you'd never get anywhere. So I really think that, this idea that kind of I'll let my body tell me what I need, I think that's kind of an excuse to stay ignorant, to be honest with you.
A lot of natural bodybuilders, when dieting down, preparing for a show or contest, seem to lose quite a lot of muscle. How do you personally manage to maintain as much as you do?
I think a lot of natural bodybuilders lose muscle because a lot of people lose muscle in general because they'll have 30, 40 pounds to lose, and they'll say, oh, I'm going to do it in 12 weeks. And they really underestimate the amount of body fat they have to lose, and they get about 4 or 5 weeks out, and they say, oh my God, I'm not going to be ready in time, and then they crash diet, try to lose 20 pounds in a month, and half of that's muscle, So I think really being honest with yourself in terms of, one, how much body fat you have to lose, and two, how long it's going to take you to do it. I had about 35 pounds to lose for my show in 2010, and I did that over a 24-week period. So, really making sure I was not losing much more than 1.5 pounds a week. And so, I think that really helped me maintain my size and fullness. I had days where I got flat, but I never really had to take my calories so low that it was a huge problem.
What's your take on stretching? Do you do it after a workout? Do you do it before, or do you not do it at all?
Yeah, I mean, there's some people who they say, don't stretch before you work out because, muscles are like a rubber band. If you stretch it too much, you're not going to get as much strength. And there's actually some science to support that. But I do some light stretching because whatever little amount of strength I might get out of that is going to be negated by the fact that if I'm not fully stretched out and warmed up, I'm going to be worrying about, tearing a muscle or creating some kind of injury. And that's going to negatively affect my strength psychologically when I'm working out. So I do some light stretching probably between sets when I'm warming up, and it probably amounts to 5-10 minutes of stretching or so. But I don't think you need to go in and do yoga for 1.5 hours before you go hit the weights. I think that's a little much. But just making sure in your warm up sets you're using a full range of motion, and then doing some light stretching in between sets is probably fine.
What's your opinion on the vacuum pose? Because you don't see a lot of modern day bodybuilders performing this anymore. What's your take on that?
I think it's a cool pose, and it was something that I've done since my very first show, and I really liked it, and I was good at it. And I think it's just one of those things that's kind of fallen out of vogue, fallen out of fashion, and whether that's because there's a bunch of guys on stage right now who look like they're pregnant or, what have you. I actually got told at a show a few years ago that the judge didn't even know what the pose was when I did it. And he was like, that was really distracting. And so I actually just stopped doing it because I thought that if the judges weren't appreciating what I was doing, there was no point in doing that. Now, every once in a while, I'll pull it out during a routine, as a kind of a thing for the people who love the old-fashioned stuff. But I used to do it during prejudging before I do an abdominal pose. I'd pull a vacuum and then I'd pop my abs out. But I don't do that anymore just because, honestly, I feel like there's quite a few judges who aren't even familiar with it and don't appreciate it. And if it's going to negatively affect my placing, I'm not going to do it. But I will try and pull it out during a routine to, for the crowd, for people who still really get a kick out of that.
And I just want to finish by asking you, Layne, is there any more In the Life of a Natural Pro Bodybuilder episodes on the way? How did that come to be?
Inside the Life of a Natural Pro actually started because the whole way it went down was I was contacted by a video guy named Paul Galinsky, who is in Chicago. This is when I was living in Illinois, which is about in Champaign, Illinois, doing my PhD, which is about 2 hours from Chicago. And this filmmaker in Chicago, he was wanting to do a documentary on bodybuilding. He wanted to make it like Pumping Iron 2. And his buddy knew of me and read all my articles and kept telling Paul, you gotta get this guy on. You gotta get this guy in there. And so at the same time, Paul was trying to get funding from bodybuilding.com for this film. And bodybuilding.com said, okay, we'll look at funding it if you if you go down to Film Layne, just do like a short 3-minute promo that we can put on his webpage. And actually, the first 3 minutes of the first episode of Inside the Life was the promo we shot. They came down and they shot it over a day period, and it's like the first 3 minutes of it. And they liked it so much, bodybuilding.com thought it was awesome, and so they said, well, we'll do 6 episodes. Let's do 6 episodes. So we did the 6 episodes, and it was so popular, they said, well, let's do 6 more, and then 6 more. And then they started, then we had the series with Team Norton, and then we had the teen training series, and then we had my wife on there, and then we had the powerlifting series, which the powerlifting series was insanely popular. I think one episode had like 150,000 views. But since then, I've moved to Florida, so I'm further away from my video guy, and so probably there won't be any more episodes of Inside the Life. But I am going to have a new DVD coming out, and it's shot by the same guy who did the Inside the Life series, the same guy who did Layne Norton Unleashed, and it's going to be about my contest I did in 2010, my first series of pro shows, and it's going to be awesome. We've got all the footage from the contest. We've got the soundtrack's going to kick ass. I'm friends with some of the guys in Chimera. And we're going to have some awesome metal tracks for the soundtrack, and it's just going to be really, really cool, and some high quality footage, and I think people are really going to like it. So if you liked Inside the Life, and here comes the plug for the interview, but if you liked Inside the Life, you're really going to like the next DVD. It's really going to be awesome.
And that's all the questions we've got for today. A big thank you to Layne Norton. Layne, good luck getting the 600-pound squat. Thanks again.
Yeah, I'd like to thank a few people real quick. I'd like to thank my, they were my sponsor, and now I actually do research and development for them, which is Civation. I've been with them for 7 years, first as a sponsored athlete, now as a research and development consultant. They're a great company. If you guys have never checked out any of their products, you really should. Civation.com. I'd also like to thank bodybuilding.com. They've given me a bunch of I wouldn't be quite frankly, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for bodybuilding.com, so I just got to send a huge thank you to them. And if you guys want to learn more about me, you can check out my website, biolayne.com, BIOLAYNE. And also I'm on Facebook and Twitter, facebook.com/Layne Norton, and then on Twitter, twitter.com/BioLayne. So hope to see you guys out there, and thanks again for the opportunity for the interview.